Hello and welcome to this week's video. This week we're doing something a little bit different because it's all very well and good us telling you what we think about cars, but what about a real owner? And thankfully we're joined by Colm Hanratty of SixTwo Digital this week, who's the proud owner of the new Kia EV6, which is a very sought after EV. Firstly, Colm, congratulations on the car.
Thank you.
So look, first things first, what made you choose A, an electric vehicle, and B, the Kia EV6?
I decided to go for an electric vehicle because, look, first and foremost, I was in the market for a new car. It seems that this is the way things are going when it comes to cars. Every advert I seem to see is talking about either a hybrid or a fully electric. I decided, you know what, in for a penny, in for a pound, and went fully electric. They are cost effective. Look, you feel like you're doing that bit more for the environment, and yeah, I suppose those different reasons made me think, you know what, I'll go fully electric.
What were your concerns initially about making the move? Because you would have driven a standard diesel car before this, right?
Yes, infrastructure, simple as that. Hassle, basically, of being stuck somewhere and not being able to charge up. But I was advised that if you're good at planning, you'll be okay, and I am. I like to plan, and so I have to plan out the journeys. I travel a good bit across the country, back and forth, but I stay in hotels that have chargers. I map out my journey that will go by and charger somewhere along the way. So that was the main, I suppose, main concern. But I've driven all around the country so far and I haven't had any trouble yet.
So what other cars were you considering when you were looking at the EV6?
I was looking at the Audi Q4 initially, but we have an SUV and the Q4 is very similar to the SUV that we have, and then I shelved the idea and then I was at a local car show, and the first car that I came across was the EV6 and I liked the look of it. At the same time then I thought, rather than just kind of go for the EV6, I started looking around a bit more. So I looked at the Enyaq, I looked at the Volkswagen ID4, I think it is, and then I looked at the EV6. So I did an awful lot of research, watched an awful lot of YouTube reviews. It has really good range, it has really good reviews, and I like to look at the car. So then that made me go for the EV6 in the end.
Well, look, obviously while we're outside the car, tell us about the styling. You know, what do you feel are the really strong points for you?
The bonnet, I suppose, is one. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a tiger bonnet. Anyway,
Tiger face.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I remember that from the YouTube video. So yeah, from the reviews. So first and foremost, there are two main things. I like the look of it, and it has really good range. They were the two key points that I suppose that I liked about it. But yeah, I think it's a nice looking car. They market it as an SUV. I don't think it kind of overly looks like an SUV. When you put it side by side from the other front runner, which was the Q4, I think they're very different. So but the two main selling points for me were, yeah, it looks like a nice car. There's actually lots of nice features. Entry level is leather seats. Entry level, which is called the Earth model, I think. Entry level has got rear view cameras, there's front sensors, there's really nice tech in the car. So there's lots of good selling points for the entry level. I didn't have to put any add-ons to it. Like, this is the car that you get, and as I said already, the range. So those kind of made me think this is the car for me.
Well, look, we have a typical Irish day, so I think we're probably better off just actually jumping into the car and taking a drive. Okay, so Colm, we're in the car at the moment. You've had the car now for, what, a couple of weeks, but your first drive in the car was quite a long one, wasn't it?
Yeah, literally the very first thing I did when I drove out of the garage when I picked it up was I drove from Drogheda all the way over to Ballyhonus in County Mayo. So I went in a full charge, and it was a really nice drive, I have to say. It was a long drive, obviously, but one thing that really struck me most on that particular drive were all the safety features that were in it. You know, like there's just an awful lot of different features that will show you if there's cars coming beside you, if you're too close to a car. So that was you just feel very safe in the car, I suppose.
Look, you know, we have to get it out of the way. People worry about range anxiety. Was this something that would have been in your head when you were buying an EV? Because you came out of it was a diesel Audi A6, which would probably do 800-900 kilometers on a full tank of diesel.
Oh, absolutely.
And you do use your car for work.
Yeah.
So you know, where was range anxiety in your head?
Range anxiety will happen if, when I get to the hotel, somebody else is using the charger ahead of me, and that hasn't happened. But I have a backup plan for each of the places I've went. So what I did was I went the very first journey, went from Drogheda to Ballyhonus, and then I went from Ballyhonus to Claremorris, and then I went from Claremorris home. And on that journey I charged it overnight at the hotel, and there was no hassle. And then that wasn't a Friday/Saturday, and then the following Sunday I went from Drogheda to Sligo, and then the next day I went from Sligo to Athlone, and then the next day after that I went from Athlone home. And on that particular journey I charged it overnight in Sligo, so I went over on a full charge and I came back on a full charge. So I haven't thankfully had range anxiety just yet, because I knew that I had enough charge to get me back and forth across the country.
Talk to me a bit about the practicalities of the car. I suppose the nuts and bolts. You know, range wise, it is winter, it's January, it's cold. What are you seeing from a full charge roughly
at the moment? I'm seeing around 400 kilometers from a full charge. Something that's surprising me, it's also actually almost a little bit amusing, is that when you have a full charge and the temperature is at 22 degrees or something, is that you might be at on a full charge 390. All of a sudden you crank up the heat to 27 degrees, let's say, and the range goes down to 330. So heat is the main factor from what I can see.
Yeah, air conditioning is a killer for electric cars, it sure is. But look, the converse of that is probably during the summer you're more likely to be hitting, you know, towards 500 kilometers when you have, you know, 21, 22 degrees outside or more, you know. You know, as a family man, practical things in terms of the boot space, the rear space, what's it like in terms of that?
It's great. I've got 3 kids, and the weekend that I got the car, we all jumped in the car and drove up to Decathlon. And I had a lovely surprise when I got to Decathlon to find out that they have a bunch of chargers in front of the store. So that was great. But no, 3 kids. We got car seats in along the back, no problem at all. The boot has got ample boot space. Like, I'm not sure if I'd be going on a week-long holiday in it, but if I was away for the weekend, I think there's enough space here to get in all our bags. And if I was going out and bringing the buggy with me, I'd fit it into the car, no problem. So yeah, look, as a family vehicle, I would find that this is perfect, really, if somebody's looking for an electric family car.
And look, as someone who's recently made the transition over from a diesel car to an electric vehicle, I suppose, what are the main points in your head that anyone watching this should consider when they're moving to electric?
First thing that you need to consider is just what is your average week or what's your average month. You know, are you just traveling around where you live? Do you travel maybe just, let's say, 100 kilometer journeys, or do you actually travel all over the country? These are the really things that you need to look at. This is what I looked at, and then I just saw whereabouts I think there are chargers. That was the biggest thing, because it's the main reservation that people have at the moment, from what I can see anyway, is infrastructure in the country. And while infrastructure is getting better, maybe, I don't know, there could be more charges around the place. But if your long journeys are few and far between, I really think anybody is going to have enough charges around there. And of course, if you get one installed at home, you're fine. So like, honestly, if people were thinking about either going for a hybrid or for a fully electric, I'd absolutely recommend going fully electric.
And if, as someone who runs a business, how do you find the vehicle as a business vehicle?
It's great. There's lots of tech in it. As I said, first of all, because I'm driving long journeys, I feel safe in the car, but also in terms of the kind of functionality here, I suppose, in terms of the car. Bluetooth is there. It has, I'm an Apple user, so it has Apple Car. Is it called CarPlay?
CarPlay, yeah.
CarPlay, yeah. It has CarPlay. The sound is crystal clear. It sucks in all your contacts. It sucks in all your messages. I don't actually need to use Siri. There's just a button here that does voice activation, and it picks up most things. I did have to ring somebody called Ashling, and I couldn't get that, so I had to say Aisling. But other than that, I find that, yeah, I take an awful lot of calls when I'm on the road, so the Bluetooth is crystal clear, and the other safety features make me feel safe when I'm on those long journeys.
But the infotainment system in this car is particularly impressive. You got those two 12.3 inch screens sitting side by side, which goes across the dashboard. We'll show a cutaway to that now, but it's really cutting edge in terms of the tech, and quite a jump from where you would have been in your previous car, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I kind of just feels it feels very modern. It actually feels more than modern. Also, a lot of people who have seen the car, a couple of comments were like that it looks like something from the future. Somebody said it looks like something from Back to the Future. So it has that look on the outside, but it has that feel on the inside as well. That's the word I was looking for, the infotainment that is here. There's an awful lot in it. I haven't got to enjoy an awful lot of it just yet because I just haven't had the time, but I'm looking forward to exploring the system, see what is available there.
I do need to show you the meditation sound at some stage later.
Very good.
You can, with this car, you can sit in your car and there are a variety of sounds, you know, like birds singing and rain, if you want to just sit and have a moment of zen in your car. So look, Colm, to finish off, I suppose if someone was thinking about moving into an EV and a point you raised about all the technology, if someone is a bit of a technophobe, is the car quite intuitive to get used to? Is there anything to be afraid of?
No, nothing to be afraid of at all. It really is just a case of getting used to charging the car. That's the main thing. That's the only thing that's really different. Do you know what? Actually, one thing which I've really enjoyed, and particularly now that obviously that we're in the winter, is that there are some different features that come with the app that you download and sign up to upon buying the car. So every morning now I can turn on the heating from the car. I'm getting in, it's lovely, I'm getting into a lovely toasty car. The kids love it as well. My wife is very jealous of it, but it's just usual things that should be fairly standard to most people at this stage. Signing up to an app, getting used to the different features that are there, but the main difference is obviously charging. But I have found it to be fairly easy to get to grips with, I suppose.
Thanks to Colm for the help in making this video. We will, of course, be back with more. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and also follow our blog on theAA.ie /blog.